Hello, good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News on 3FM. The news is also live on Kesmi 107.1 FM and across the world at 3news.com. My name is Beatrice Adu. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. The government convenes a national security meeting to devise ways to respond to illegal mining menace. This afternoon, we have details for you as media coalition and organized labor pile pressure for a decisive action. Still on this, the Speaker of Parliament is criticizing the seemingly no action from the part of the government on this. Also, NPP National Executive Committee meets to firm up decision on whether to rerun Wale Wale NPP parliamentary primary following the controversial withdrawal of the incumbent MP from the race. And much later in sport, we'll tell you why the Confederation of African Football, CAF, has withdrawn its approval of the Babaya Sports Stadium in Kumasi for competitive football. Thank you very much for joining us. Now, for the first time since the renewed calls for an end to the illegal mining menace, the government is holding a national security meeting to discuss possible solutions to the Galamsey scourge. The meeting, at the behest of the president, is, according to sources, expected to take stock of the fight so far and allow the government to re-strategize to halt illegal mining and prevent the destruction of the country's land and water bodies. Meanwhile, the media coalition against illegal mining is demanding urgent action from the government to end illegal mining. We'll bring you details of all of that. But ahead of that, the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagbin, has also been speaking. He has reiterated his stance that he knows that members of Parliament are involved in this illegal mining business. The comment comes as the nation declares war on the menace seen as a national security threat. In an exclusive interview with us earlier, Mr. Bagbin said that the failure of the president as regards dealing with the problem has also given fatal blow to the trust of Ghanaians. And you're still here on the Midday News on 3FM 92.7. Let's bring you that commentary from the Speaker on this issue.
Government took to try and turn the tide. I know only of the president putting his presidency online and calling in the military.
Did he lie to us?
I know his conscience will be disturbing him now, okay? Because I think he underestimated the challenge. What we have in Ghana is despondency. People are losing hope in the future of the country. And so we have young men and women who are aware of the risk involved in illegal mining, yet they defy everything to put their lives at that risk. It tells us something as leaders. That's an indictment on our leadership. These young people shouldn't be doing that. And yet, they have no alternative.
So is that
it is not for you to order military to shoot and kill, as some of them stated, any person involved in risking his or her life to survive. It's not right. It's not right. We got it wrong right from the beginning. Because as you are aware, the term Galamsey came from gather and sell. And that was done by who? The ordinary citizens. When we decided to commercialize the activity, to industrialize it, we gave it to big-time foreign companies. We did not develop the industry ourselves. And those companies came and exploited all our resources to the benefit of the Metropolitan West and to the abject poverty of we, the owners of the resort. We need to assure these young people and all those involved that there's something better than they are doing.
How is this a threat now as we speak?
Serious threat. Most of those people definitely will not buy what the politicians are saying now, because they've heard it many times. And as they said, the failure of His Excellency Nana Adu Dankwa has given almost fatal blow to the trust of Ghanaians in the democratic process. But so many people believed in him that he was going to make a difference. Unfortunately, he has disappointed all of them.
On Tuesday, when that conversation about illegal mining came up, you said something, and I'm going to quote you here, that if we take a census, some of you, referring to MPs, will be there. Why'd you say that?
Because they are involved.
You know for a fact that a number of
please, even when we talked about this, there were some fraudulent micro finance companies that came out some time ago. And these MPs were involved. And some of them used those resources to contest to come to Parliament. And they are again involved.
Couldn't you have done anything about it?
I wasn't even there. I didn't know it until some investigations were conducted, and I got to know it.
Did you do anything after?
As a speaker?
The Speaker of Parliament.
What
At least the members of Parliament are, quote unquote, under your leadership.
No. If you look at the legal framework governing the functions and the role of Speaker, I cannot go that far.
And you heard the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagbin, in that exclusive interview with me earlier. We also do know that organised labour is addressing the press on this, also piling pressure on the government. Labour Affairs correspondent Daniel Opoko is at that press conference. He joins us live now. Daniel, what can you tell us from what's happening on the ground? We seem to have lost Daniel Opoko on the line, but you're still here on the Midday News on 3FM 92.7. And it's some 10 minutes past the hour of 12 right here on the Midday News on 3FM 92.7. Stay with us.
Said the baby, we are single best quantre drone, who been catchery. There was subjects who running a bin for or two on boss ye, and son watching woman.
Oh, yeah. Metibiaye.
Juju, we are done now, yeah.
Me share my best brain book neso. And I'm a computer no.
That's my boy.
Young woman in ejina fapim ensia bi so. Se obenya adwene a emu dɔ. Edi bibia obi enwene ho aba. Odisua nyinu benya okandifo su obeye omamba pa. Na dwene mu bebie. Edi ahwehwe ohaw ehu muaye. Obenya computer mu nimde amapa. Obetimi akeka ne ho akɔ nipam. Ehunu sɛde ani afoforo so edi nkita ho. Wo preschool mekire emofra totofewan. Ye wo literacy, numeracy, phonics, and writing mawon. Kindergarten so ye wo literacy, numeracy, our world, our people, creative arts, phonics, writing, and the picture reading. A free basic 1 to 6, your mathematics, science, English, religious and moral education, creative arts, asante tree ni ekwapim tree. Basic 6, 7, 8, and 9 so your mathematics, science, religious and moral education, social studies, creative arts, career technology, and computing. And so wow, your questions and answers. And my subjects ni nyina. Ya links and the QR codes. Oh, your books ni nyina emo. Enti de wiase nyina e krono. Yes you hobby. Obi ntumi nya ya chire kra. De koso wo wiase afa ba bia ya ni sem enunti na best brain publications ngoma no eba oba ana obusuani bia kwan mu a na wada nson no. Fra ho boyen. Fra yen 0507 200 200 ana 0504 200 300 and afi 0241 520 946. Yen email address bestbrainp@yahoo.com. Yen website www.bestbrainp.com. Best Brain Publications. Baby a ngumbe suani bachelor or chnano. Yakurade yashasiende.
And you saw how the Midday News on True FM 92.7. Let's cross over now to Daniel Opoku, who is covering that press conference by organized labor against illegal mining. Daniel, what can you report from there?
Good afternoon to you, Beatrice.
Yes, what can you tell us? What has been said at this program?
Right. So currently, organized labor has issued a statement at a news conference where they have called on the president to declare a state of emergency. And within the state of emergency, should deploy security officers to go to the mining areas and stop and halt all activities on Galamsey operations. And now they have given the president up to the end of this month, the 3rd of September, for all these series of actions to be taken. So basically, organized labor somewhere is joining what UTAG said some few days ago. So organized labor is asking president to declare state of emergency and also deploy security officers, ban all mining activity operations, and allow for a proper dialogue to take place.
Thank you very much. Daniel Opoku is our Labour Affairs correspondent. Some 30 minutes past the hour of 12. This is the Midday News on 3FM 92.7. Some other issues. And the National Executive Committee of the governing New Patriotic Party will this afternoon take a firm decision on the party's candidate for the Wale Wale constituency. This is after the rerun of the disputed January 27 primary between incumbent MP Hajia Lariba Zuwera and Dr. Mahama Karibu ended inconclusively, following an incident of vote tampering on Wednesday. The incumbent MP withdrew from the race, but it is still not clear whether the party will hold a primary ahead of Friday's filing deadline set by the Electoral Commission. And so the Zuwera actually withdrew from that race yesterday, Tuesday, September 10, 2024. George Koenig is there. He joins us live on the line. George, what's happening at the MPP meeting?
Okay, thank you so much, Richie. And so the next meeting actually happened at the Alisa Hotel. Security was very tight here, and so the media was actually prevented from getting close to the building. So we're just at the pool area. But predictable issues that were discussed, like you rightly mentioned, was the Wale Wale issue and some party faithful going independent, especially Cynthia Morrison. But we tried to speak to the chairman of the party, Stephen Team, and he mentioned that it has been a fruitful discussion, and he couldn't give us much information, but what he said was they wish the Wale Wale aspirants would have been here, but they weren't here in person, but at least they spoke extensively about the issue, and Cynthia Morrison, who is going independent from West, is a party member through and through, so they're trying to talk to her, even though it's just 2 days to file her nomination, they can still talk her out and then bring her back on board. So these are the things that the chairman mentioned to me.
So what you're saying is that they want to bring Zuwera back to the race?
Yeah, exactly. So they expected them to come to the next meeting and have the discussion finalized and all that. But the candidates were not here at the next meeting, and they are still, having that discussion So they will come to a closure. And they also talked about some of the candidates going independent. It's a Morrison's issue, for instance. And he mentioned that he is a member through and through. So they will still talk it out, even though it's just 2 days to file her nomination.
Thank you very much, George Koenig. He is currently at the Alisa Hotel covering that emergency NEC meeting by the NPP. We say on election-related issues because the Electoral Commission is also expecting some more presidential aspirants to file their nomination forms after 8 of them submitted theirs on the first day of the filing exercise. Now, about 4 candidates are expected to file their nominations today, including independent candidate Alan Tremonting and Kofi Kranting. Noble Crosby Annan is there. He joins us live on the line. Noble, what's happening where you are?
Well, Beatrice, thanks for having me. So at the moment, we're still waiting for the presidential aspirants to file their nominations today. And like you've mentioned, we expect about 4 persons to be here at the headquarters of the Electoral Commission. On the list of the commission, Kofi Kranting is an independent candidate. He's expected to be here. Alan Tremonting also is expected to be here somewhere around 3:30 p.m. Now, the NDC is also expected to file their nominations. By now, we should have had one certain team that another independent candidate filing his nomination, but that has not happened yet. He was expected to file his nominations at 10 a.m. this morning, but as I speak with you, he has not been here. So, after him, the NDC will be here, and hopefully they will be present and then go through the process. So after Alan Tremonting, who will be the last for the day, then in the coming days, the other parties as well as independent candidates will submit or file their nominations.
Thank you very much, Noble Crosby Annan, who is at the Electoral Commission headquarters awaiting the filing of nomination by 4 more individuals interested in the presidential slot. Let's take you now to the Accra Police Command because the leadership of the opposition National Democratic Congress is currently meeting the police ahead of its planned protest next week. The NDC intends to hold a nationwide demonstration on September 17 in all regional capitals to demand a credible voters register. The NDC insists that the Electoral Commission must allow an audit to be conducted to determine the suitability of the electoral roll for the December polls. This follows the EC's refusal to grant repeated requests for a forensic audit into the provisional register. Joseph Armstrong is covering this for us. He also joins us live on the phone. Joseph, tell us more regarding what has been said and what's going on. Hello, Joseph, we can hear you.
Hello, Beatrice.
Yes, please tell us what's happening. We can actually see on the screen Fifi Kwete, the General Secretary of the party. We can also see as well the Director of Elections, Omane Buama. We can see Sami Jemfi, if you're watching us on Facebook, Communications Officer. But really, aside from what's happening on the screens, tell us what you've gathered so far.
So, Beatrice, the NDC General Secretary and then also that of the Communication Officer, just as you rightly mentioned, they just finished having a meeting with the Accra Regional Police Command, and they've agreed on the day and also the route they are going to use for the 17th demonstration to seek a forensic audit of the voter register. One issue that they were not too sure of that they didn't agree on that resolve is about the termination point where after starting the demonstration from grassroots, marching through TUC to Parliament House to present a petition, when they get to Electoral Commission where they will terminate to also present their petition to the EC was challenged, but then they were able to resolve that. So the police commander, the Accra Regional Police Commander, with some other top police officers, drove together to the Electoral Commission head office here, the new Electoral Commission head office. So they agreed where exactly the police would have to barricade so that on the day of demonstration, the protesters will not cross that barrier. That was very fruitful, and it was so straight to the point. When you go in less than 1 minute, they were able to decide and agree on the exact location where they'll be terminating on the day of demonstration.
So what that means is also that the 17th of September protest has been approved?
Yes, so this is going to be done across the country. Other regions are going to do the same. But we'll be speaking to Fifi Kwete earlier. Let's take a listen to it.
agreed on the routes we are going to use. We're going to start from Kwame Nkrumah Circle, come through Farisco, continue all the way to the National Theatre, and from there, go on to Parliament House, and from Parliament House, we'll finish at the premises of the Electoral Commission. What we're going to just finalize right now is exactly that's what we're going to place and not to go to the point of termination. That's the only part we want to conclude with them right away. So we are going with them right now to go and have a final look at the play in order to agree on a exact point of termination. But generally, that has been the agreement so far. So the demonstration definitely is going to happen on the 17th of this month, and the routes, that's exactly what I've just mentioned.
But I said the police is yet to give the full go-ahead. Should the police say that they don't have the...
I've just told you that we have concluded, and it's an agreement on the dates and also an agreement on the routes. So there's nothing like police is not going to be giving an agreement.
For all the systems.
Yes.
And I had Fifi Kwete, he's the General Secretary of the opposition National Democratic Congress, to the camp of the NPP. And in Ejiso, the party says that the return of its former Member of Parliament who contested in the recent by-election as independent candidate is a major boost to the party's chances of securing an overwhelming victory in the upcoming December 7 presidential and parliamentary elections. Though a traditional seat for the NPP since 1992, the party is targeting nothing short of 90% of vote to increase its hopes of breaking the 8. Ibrahim Abubakar was at the constituency campaign launch and joins us live with some updates. Ibrahim, so now it's confirmed that Kwabena Owusu-Aduomi is back to the NPP and will not contest as an independent candidate on December 7, right?
Exactly. So at their campaign launch, personally, I didn't support him, but I saw some of his key campaign officials who have confirmed that indeed he has made a return to the New Patriotic Party. In fact, the explanation they gave was that he's out of the country. That's why he couldn't also personally attend the campaign launch. But all of them are back together and they have begun the door-to-door campaign. In fact, for some of his supporters, those who supported him keenly, some obviously were disappointed because they felt that the party didn't treat him well. But since he has decided to return to the party, they are left with no option than to respect his decision, and they are hoping that going forward, when it comes to internal matters, the party will be able to handle it well so that they wouldn't have a situation where a key member of the party will be breaking away and be going for an independent candidate. So now they are okay, and they are targeting, and they are saying they want nothing short of 90% of the votes in Ejuso so that they consolidate their gains and make sure that the MPP is able to break the 8. Since the creation, MPP has never gotten more than 85% in Ejuso, even though it has been their traditional seat, but this time around they are looking at 90%. So they help Baumia break the 8. The parliamentary candidate for Ejuso, Kwabena Boateng, has been speaking to me.
Issues were there, no doubt. I'm not going to go back, But that is the beauty of family. We get issues, but we sit down, we talk, we settle, and then we move ahead. The evidence of the unity that we have achieved is the fact that the former MP who went independent is now back with the party together with all his people to form one big elephant family. And trust me, with this unification, we have victory ahead of us, and we are going to achieve it.
We have victory ahead of us, and we are going to achieve it. You have Kwabena Boateng. He is the parliamentary candidate for Ejuso in the Ashanti region. We'll bring you some sports, and the Confederation of African Football has asked the Ghana Football Association to find an alternative venue for Ghana's next home game after withdrawing its approval of the Baba Yara Stadium. The Baba Yara Stadium received conditional approval to host Ghana's opening game against Angola in the 2025 2025 Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers on September 5. However, CAF has come out with a revised decision following observations made from the Black Stars fixture against the Palancas Negras. And I'm joined in the studio now by Billy Shan. He is with our sports desk. Bill, this certainly is not good news for Ghana, but others are also saying that this decision was long overdue.
Yeah, the rules when it comes to, stadiums, I mean, for a competition as big as the AFCON 2025 qualifiers, the least category your stadium has to fall in is category C. That is what the Baba Yara Sports Stadium used to be and could host a game as big as that. But we saw the pitch having, not looking so great when the game was ongoing, and a lot of fans did complain right after the game about the state and the nature of the pitch. And the bad thing about it is that is a requirement for every single category that the CAF has released. For category A, B, C, D, your pitch has to be smooth and of a level playing surface.
And you're actually seeing it there with some, grass off the pitch.
Yeah. So it doesn't look smooth, it doesn't look level, which isn't good. It doesn't match category A, B, C, or even D, which is the highest category.
How did it deteriorate between the time we had the approval to now?
Well, there was a period before the game started, and some people had gone to see the pitch. It didn't look in good shape. And major works actually started about 2 weeks before the game. And that is too short a period to get the grass of the pitch, which is natural, to the state where it should be, where it can be able to withstand a lot of pressure, because in 90 minutes there's a lot of tackles and all of that and kicking of the ball, and so the field has to be able to withstand the pressure. That didn't happen, and that wasn't a good look in the eyes of CAF. And of course, I had a number of discussions with some colleagues who did confirm to me right after the game that a number of people had already sent complaints to CAF.
So there was a possibility we're not going to use it again for such a game?
Yeah, there was a possibility that it was going to happen, and we've seen it happen. But again, it's not really certain, because again, we have 1 month to Ghana versus Sudan, that is Kwesi Appiah's team. And the National Sports Authority therefore has about 1 month to make sure that the pitch is up to standard, and they can call CAF again to come and have a look and decide whether it is fit enough to be a category C pitch again.
But before that decision, though, do we have an idea where Ghana could play next? Which place possibly?
The GFA hasn't released the location where Ghana could possibly play, but there are options. We saw Ghana play against Niger and Morocco. That was supposedly Niger's home venue. That could be an option. There's also Ivory Coast, which is a neighbor to Ghana, and Ivory Coast have very good stadiums that actually hosted the Africa Cup of Nations, and that is an even higher competition than the qualifiers. And so those are options. And there's also, a lot of people are now talking about it, the Legon Sports Stadium, which was recently completed this year for the African Games. If CAF deems it worthy, maybe we could see the Black Stars play there. But it all depends on what the NSA does with the GFA to make sure the stadiums are ready.
Bill, I want you to stay a bit longer here, because former Black Stars captain Asamoah Gyan has also denounced his membership of the New Patriotic Party to focus on humanitarian work. Yeah. Now, in a statement posted to his social media handle X, formerly Twitter, Ghana's record goal scorer said that he has not been fair to the country's youth by being affiliated to a political party, and will now be taking a step back from active politics to focus on independently contributing to empowering the youth of Ghana through the Asamoah Gyan Foundation. Let me bring you a bit of background that in February 2024, just weeks after Asamoah Gyan was spotted at the NPP presidential candidate and Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia's campaign launch, the 2010 BBC African Footballer of the Year was named chairman of Bawumia's Youth and Sports Manifesto Subcommittee. And again last month, he joined Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia in a campaign walk in Ekopon in the Eastern region. And so, did this move really by Gyan come as a surprise to you?
Sort of. We're just months to the election. But again, it has two sides, because it comes just a few weeks after the manifesto was launched, and the part about sports was especially scrutinized. And I remember having a conversation with a veteran journalist, and he did highlight to me that Jan particularly was vocal about the natural pitches not being available. And in the MPP's manifesto, it was more or less highlighting the need for more astroturfs, where about 145 astroturfs had already been built. And with astroturfs, from experience, from using it myself, I have to pay to use. That's not something a 6-year-old, 7-year-old can actually pay for to use. So that is problematic. So that raised a number of questions, and maybe he had some self-reflecting and thought about it and believed that maybe he can contribute even further or better without being affiliated to the MPP.
Thank you very much, Billy Shan, for joining us. I'm sure we'll be having a lot more conversation on this later. But that's it for the news here on 3FM 92.7. My name is Beatrice Adu. Thank you very much for joining us today. Log on to 3news.com for more news. Have a good afternoon.
When it comes to the world of sports, what does complete mean to you?
When my team scores at the end of a 30-plus passing sequence, like Pep Guardiola style.
When someone beats the buzzer from a shot from the logo, like Steph Curry.
Dominating opponents and punching my way to a knockout, like Africa's greatest boxer, Azuma Nelson.
Running so fast that I can afford to celebrate midway through a 100-meter race and smash the world record like Usain Bolt.
Hold up. What makes all of these sports complete is the screen. This is where you get access to extensive analysis, insights, and highlights.
So join us every Sunday at 6 p.m. live on 3FM 92.7 as we serve you the most satisfying buffet in the world of sports. The 3 Sports team will come together to review, preview, and analyze the latest in sports on Sports Ultras.
Imagine a place where voices matter, where every corner, every street, every community is a platform.
A big bus moving through Accra, carrying conversations, questions, and the pulse of the nation. This is not just another show, it's your voice on the move.
Join us as 3FM Sunrise hits the road, turning ordinary streets into platforms for extraordinary dialogue. Speak freely, listen deeply, and help shape the conversation that drives Ghana forward.
Look out for the bus and tune in exclusively on 3FM 92.7, your urban lifestyle radio.
Africa, are you ready? The countdown to the most explosive Afro experience of the year has begun. It's the 3FM Afro Connects 2024, happening live on Saturday, 21st September at the monumental Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park. It promises to be a day filled with a display of Africa's dynamic cultures, pulsating beats, electrifying performances, and pure Afro vibes. Come and experience the infectious energy of Africa's great people in the most iconic food battle of the continent, the Jollof Wars. Which African country takes home the crown for the best jollof? You don't want to miss this epic celebration of Africa. The 3FM Afro Connect, 21st September at the Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park, Accra. Feel the pulse. Feel the vibe of Africa. Are you a vendor or international exhibitor? This is your moment. Come and showcase your unique products to thousands of culture lovers from around the world. Call 0532 200 927 or 0531 100 927 right now. 3FM Afro Connect 2024, where Africa meets the rest of the world. Sponsored by Fortune Rite, Frito Oil, Bills Microcredit,
and Fidelity Bank, Flora Tissue, and Dewa Chop Money.
And powered by 3FM with the Media General Group. Follow us at 3FM 927 for more. 3FM 92.7, your urban lifestyle radio.
Hello, good afternoon. It's Business Daily on 3FM 92.7. And coming up, Ghana's inflation rate continues downward trend, easing to 20.4% in August. Ahead, we'll hear from government statistician Professor Samuel Kobna-Eni.
Between August 2023 and August 2024, general price levels of goods and services went up by 20.4%.
Also, Association of Ghana Industries upbeat about improved macroeconomic stability post-2024 general elections.
The macroeconomic stability that we are experiencing now, we want it to continue. We want it to improve even coming next year. So we are hopeful that we'll see this improvement.
And investment decline in Ghana's extractive sector sparks urgent call for reform. We'll hear from co-chair of Ghana Extractive Industry Transparency Initiative, Dr. Steve Mantiao.
Other reasons cited for the lack of investments in the oil sector is also the poor quality nature of our seismic data.
We'll bring you details of this and more. My name is Manu. Afful, do stay tuned. And now the details. Ghana's inflation rate has eased marginally to 20.4% in August 2024, marking a slight decrease from the previous month's rate of 20.9%. This is the fifth straight decline in the rate of rise in the general price levels from April 2024. According to the Ghana Statistical Service, the latest slowdown was influenced by a reduction in food inflation.
Disaggregating this from a food and non-food inflation perspective, non-food inflation was 21.5% for the month of August 2024 relative to food inflation 19.1% for the month of August 2024. From a regional perspective, the Upper East region recorded the highest overall rate of inflation of 27.8%, and the Northeast region recorded the lowest rate of inflation of 10.1%. Disaggregating from a locally produced item and an imported item perspective, we recorded a 6.1 percentage point difference between inflation on locally produced items and inflation on imported items, with inflation on locally produced items 22.2% and inflation on imported items 16.1%. We see a marginal increase in inflation on imported items from 15.6% to 16.1%, a 0.5 percentage upward difference, while we see a decline for inflation on locally produced items, declining from 23.3% to 22.2%, indicating a 1.1 percentage point decline for inflation on locally produced items.
That was government statistician Professor Samuel Kobna-Eni. Meanwhile, non-food inflation, however, saw some 0.7 percentage points increase in inflation to 21.5% in August 2024 from 20.5% in July 2024. Now, the chief executive of the Association of Ghana Industries, Seth Chumakwabwa, has emphasized the need for stronger macroeconomic stability following the 2024 general elections. He made the call during the launch of the AGI's Ghana Industry and Quality Awards.
We saw that it improved a bit as at the beginning of the year. But along the line, when we had the fast depreciation receding, it dipped. But I think the latest one we've had has seen some improvement. So what we expect in the coming months is that we're able to sustain the improvement we have. The election should not be a measure to, it shouldn't be an issue in terms of measuring confidence level. Rather, we want it to spur businesses on. Because during an election year, naturally, there's a lot more expenditure. So businesses should rather improve, but it shouldn't be an overnight arrangement. It should be sustained. For us, it's the sustainability angle that we need most. Because people want to be able to plan. And if you don't have a sustained arrangement, you cannot plan with it. So the macroeconomic stability that we are experiencing now, we want it to continue. We want it to improve even coming next year. So we are hopeful that we'll see this improvement.
That was Chief Executive of the Association of Ghana Industries, Seth Chumakwabwa there. Now, regulatory uncertainties, poor data, among other factors, are threatening the investment climate in Ghana's extractive sector, causing significant declines in investments annually. According to Dr. Steve Mantiao, co-chair of the Ghana Extractive Industry Transparency Initiative, immediate action must be taken to tackle this matter to help maintain stability in Ghana's economy.
First is the size of our blocks. This point came to attention when ExxonMobil left the Ghana oil industry and made the point that our block sizes are small. Other reasons cited for the lack of investments in the oil sector is also the poor quality nature of our seismic data. Okay. A lot of the companies have complained about regulatory uncertainties and sometimes the capricious manner in which we impose new fiscal rules or terms. So, for instance, some have said that, look, they sometimes will plan their financials. They go to bed, they wake up in the morning, and the government has read the budget, imposing 1% development levy, which is not recoverable. When that happens, it throws out all their financial projections in respect of their returns. And so it's not too good for financial planning. Some of them have also complained that when things like this happen, they would sometimes flound their stability agreements.
That was co-chair of the Ghana Extractive Industry Transparency Initiative, Dr. Steve Mantiao there. Before we go, as the world shifts towards greener energy sources, the Association of Oil Marketing Companies has urged Africa to focus on hydrocarbons in the interim, citing their availability and reliability. The association argues that the continent should prioritize refining its hydrocarbons to make them more affordable.
As Africa, not only in Ghana, we need to make sure that we have a source of fuel that is available all time, that is accessible and that's affordable. Because most of the times I receive calls from TV3 and all of you asking why is the price of fuel going up? Price of fuel will go up as long as we import crude oil products in the country whilst exporting our crude oil that we produce here. Should we have refined our crude oil in-house, in terms of Ghana, we could have had a much more cheaper source of fuel for transportation. At the same time, let me also mention that we are not against the transition of crude oil into much more cleaner source of fuel, meaning the electricity. It will happen. But when it will happen, Michael, you and I don't know, because it is a matter of time, it is a matter of policy accepting it. At the same time, this sort of energy should be available, accessible and affordable.
Well, you heard the voice of Dr. Reversing Opong, Chief Executive of the Association of Oil Marketing Companies. Well, that's it for Business Daily here on 3FM 92.7. For more stories, kindly log on to our website. It's www.3news.com. My name is Manu. Afful. Stay tuned. Urban Blend is up next with Black Rasta.